السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته يا شيخنا.
أبو عبد الرحمن كيف حالك؟
الحمد لله يا شيخنا.
طيب نبدأ.
نعم.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أما بعد, this is a class about our mother Āishah radhiyallahu anha ummul mu'minin, and we are reading about her life from Siyar A'alām An-Nubala by Al-Hafidh Al-Dhahabi rahimahullah Abu Abdullah. We have chosen Siyar A'alām An-Nubala for this reading because Imām Adh-Dhahabi rahimahullah, he pays attention to the authenticity of the reports that he mentioned in his biographies. He's talking about Abu Bakr al-Siddiq. He's mentioning those reports that are reliable regarding the life of Abu Bakr al-Siddiq. He's talking about Āishah radhiyallahu anha. He's talking about those narrations that are verified, authentic, or even if there are some sort of weakness in it, there will be no fabrications and very weak reports regarding them. So we chose to read from Siyar A'alām An-Nubala. We have mentioned the life of Āishah radhiyallahu anha ummul mu'minin, ahabbu khalqillahi ila rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the most beloved of the human beings to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. It was a clear-cut question that Amr ibn As asked the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Amr ibn As asked the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, Man ahabbu nasi ilayki? It's a clear-cut question. Clear-cut question. Man ahabbu nasi ilayki? Who amongst the human beings, who amongst them is most beloved to you? And the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Āishah. Āishah. Clear cut. So we have discussed her lineage, her father, her mother. We have discussed her marriage to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, and the barakat that came from that marriage. She became so knowledgeable. Radiyallahu anha. She had over 300 students. Āishah radiyallahu anha. She had over 300 students. From amongst them was Abu Hurairah radiyallahu. From amongst them was Abdullah ibn Umar. From amongst them was Abdullah ibn Abbas. From amongst them was Abdullah ibn Zubayr radiyallahu anhu. So if a person has students like these people, it shows how much knowledge that person has had. That was why Imam Hakim rahimahullah an-Nisaburi, he will say, Umila anha rubu' sharia. 1/4 of the entire religion of Islam was taken from who? Āishah. 1/4. Umila anha rubu' sharia. 1/4 of this deen. The entirety of the knowledge of this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. She took one of it. Radiyallahu anha. So we had mentioned all of these blessings from her. She was most beloved to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Isn't that sufficient virtue for her? That the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam loved her more than all of his wives. And he did not used to hide it. Alayhi salatu wasalam. So Āishah was a very virtuous woman. We also discussed her marriage, the details of the marriage. So how did it happen? How did the khitbah happen? We have read it in this book, Siyar A'alām An-Nubala. We also read her hijrah from Makkah to Medina. How did she move from Makkah to Medina? We read how the Prophet used to play with her and allow her to play with dolls. Radiallahu anhu. Various parts of her life we have come through. But here, Imām Adh-Dhahabi came to a very important matter. He titled it Sha'nul Ifk. If you look in your copy of Siyar A'alām An-Nubala, just look downwards in the pages. You see a title heading that is titled Sha'nul Ifk, the affair of the slander, the lie that was told about her. So as far as our mother Āishah was concerned, radiallahu anha, and as far as the rest of us, the Muslims, we are concerned, may Allah be pleased with all of us. That is the trial inside her marriage. Her marriage was sweet. Her husband likes her. She likes her husband. Allah is pleased with her. The other wives were jealous of her. All the companions knew that she was the most beloved wife. That was why it was the day that she would be, that the Prophet ﷺ would be in her room. They would send gifts to the Prophet ﷺ. So everybody knew who she was. Radiallahu anha. She was 9 years old when she was married to the Prophet ﷺ. She was 18 years old when the Prophet died ﷺ. She died when she was 68 years old. Radiallahu anha. It means that for 50 years she was teaching the Ummah. 50 years, radiallahu anha. Āishah was teaching. 50 years. But in all of these sweetness, there is a trial, there is a bala connected to it. That marriage itself had a trial. And I don't know any trial in the marriage of our mother Āishah that is like this sha'anul ifk, like the ulama, like the matter of the slander. Why is it bala in her marriage? Her husband was thinking, is it not the wife that I married? She too, she's thinking, is this not my husband? You know when marriage is like that? The wife starts thinking, is this the man that I married? The husband starts thinking, is it the wife that I married? Then we know there's a trial. Big trial. Radiallahu anha. For her, that requires a lot of patience from her. It was also a trial for the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, because it had to do with his honor. It had to do with his wife. Radiallahu anha. So as we read in this book, Siyar A'alām An-Nubala, and Imām Adh-Dhahabi rahimahullah told us that happened in the 5th year after Hijrah. Even though we said many others amongst the scholars of Tariq, we say that Al-Ifk happened in the 6th year of Hijrah. But they were all agreed that it was when they were returning from Banu Mustalik, Ghazwa to Banu Mustalik. Ghazwa to Banu Mustalik is also called Banu or Ghazwa to Muraysiyah. Muraysiyah is the name of a well that Banu Mustalik had. Banu Mustalik had a well. The name of that well is what? Muraysiyah. So sometimes they call that battle Muraysiyah by the name of that well. And sometimes when they refer to that battle, they refer to it as what? Banu Mustalik, with respect to the people that the Prophet fought in that battle. Now we had started to read a part of it. And Imām Adh-Dhahabi rahimahullah told us that Āishah radiallahu anha wa umruha radiallahu anha yawma'idhin isnata ashrata sanat. She was at that time 12 years old. Radiallahu anha. Our mother Āishah was 12 years old at the time. Because Imām Adh-Dhahabi holds that it happened in the 5th year of Hijrah. So if we say it happened in the 6th year of Hijrah, what it would mean is that she was 13 years old when this matter happened. We quickly go to the report where Imām Adh-Dhahabi referred to Imam Yunus ibn Yazid al-Ayli. He said, rahimahullah, Yunus and Ibn Shihab. We had read all of these in the last class, but we have to link us up to the last class. That is why we came back to the beginning of this report. If you are with the copy of Mu'assasatul Risala that is displayed on the screen, that will be upon page 153. If you are upon the copy of Darul Hadith, which page is it? Which page is it? Now, 4. Go open 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. You say. If you are with a copy of, with the print of Maktabatu al-Bayan, you will find this report in page 406. But if you are with the copy that is displayed on the screen, the print of Mu'assasatul Risala, that has the Muqaddimah of Dr. Bashar Awad Ma'ruf, you will find it on page 153. Al-Imām Adh-Dhahabi said, Rahimahullah. Have you seen it now? You've not seen it, but you can bring it. If you are with a copy of Darul Hadith, it will be on page 438. Al-Imam Adh-Dhahabi said, Rahimahullah, Yunus, we had mentioned that he is mentioning the students of Al-Imam al-Zuhri. So he said Yunus, and this is not goes back to Al-Imam al-Bukhari, it goes back to Al-Imam Muslim in their Sahih. It also goes back to Al-Imam Ahmad in his Muslim. So it comes from the hadith of Yunus. This Yunus, his full name is Yunus ibn Yazid al-Ayli, from the students of Al-Imam ibn Shihab al-Zuhri, Muhammad ibn Muslim ibn Shihab al-Zuhri. He said, أخبرني عروة وابن المسيب وعلقمة ibn Waqqas وعبيد الله ibn Abdullah. He mentioned this report from 4 tabi'un, from 4 amongst the tabi'un. Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri is reporting this hadith from 4 tabi'un. The first one was who? Urwa ibn Zubayr. The second one is who? Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib. The third one is who? Al-Qamah ibn Waqqas. The fourth one is who? Ubaydullah ibn Abdullah ibn Utbah ibn Mas'ud. That's Ubaydullah. He is Ubaydullah ibn Abdullah ibn Utbah ibn Mas'ud. Utbah ibn Mas'ud is the brother of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. These were all scholars from amongst the Tabi'in. And all of them were students of who? Āishah, radiyallahu anha. He said, عن ابن شهاب أخبرني عروة وابن المسيب وعلقمة بن وقاص وعبيد الله بن عبد الله عن حديث عائشة رضي الله عنها حين قال لها أهل الإفك ما قالوا. He said this is a report these 4 persons have reported from Āishah radiyallahu anha. In the last class, we reported 7 others amongst the Tabi'un. Apart from these 4, there were 7 others from the Tabi'un who reported this asar. From who? From Āishah. These are 4 here. There are 7 others who have reported from Āishah. From amongst them was Abu Salam, the son of Abdurrahman ibn Awf. From amongst them was Amra bint Abdurrahman, radiyallahu anhu. From amongst them was Al-Qasim. Al-Qasim was the grandchild of Abu Bakr al-Siddiq. You remember that during Hajjatul Wada, Abu Bakr al-Siddiq gave birth to a boy. His name was what? Muhammad. That boy Muhammad had a son. His name was what? Al-Qasim. He also reported this story. There were 7 others, apart from these 4 who reported it from Āishah. So all those who reported this narration from Āishah, they were how many? 11 in all. And apart from she herself, radiallahu anha, 6 other companions reported this story. The entire narration of it, apart from Āishah, it was also reported by Abdullah ibn Zubayr, Ruman, the mother of Āishah, Abdullah ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhuma, Abdullah ibn Umar, radiallahu anhuma, Abu Hurairah, radiallahu anhu, and a companion called Abu Nāsir, radiallahu anhu. All of them, apart from Āishah, they also narrated this story of Āishah. But we are reading from the report of the person to whom it happened herself, radiallahu anhu, Āishah. He said, radiallahu anha, but before that, Imam Adh-Dhahabi said, all these four people told me about the story of Āishah, radiallahu anha, حين قال لها أهل الإبك ما قالوا. When the people who slandered her and told a lie against her, when they mentioned what they said about her, فَبَرَّأَهَا اللَّهُ تَعَالَى. And Allah removed that lie from her. Allah vouchsafed her. Allah announced to us that she was the one who was right and she was free from indecency. Al-Imam Adh-Dhahabi said, وَكُلٌّ حَدَّثَنِي بِطَائِفَةٍ مِنْ حَدِيثِهَا. Each of these four persons told me a part of the story. وَبَعْضُ حَدِيثِهِمْ يُصَدِّقُ بَعْضًا. And one person's narration will confirm another person's narration. Meaning, I heard from four different persons. Each person telling me the story as they heard it from who? I. And each person, whatever they say, I'll hear it again from another. Yes, this one also told me, this one also told me. He said, وَإِنْ كَانَ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْعَلَهُ مِنْ بَعْضٍ. Even though some were more explicit, they have more reports. You know, that's how storytelling is. If you are narrating something that happened, some will have more information than others. Some will concentrate, tell you more details about a particular event, like others. Look at Hajjatul Nabi alayhi salam. Look at Hadith of Jabir ibn Abdullah alayhi salam. Very lengthy. Very lengthy hadith. But if you look at Ibn Umar, Abu Huraira, and others amongst the companions, their narration of that Hajj was brief. But as for Jabir, it will cover almost 5 to 6 pages. He narrated one by one, step by step. These are how the scholars of Hadith report narrations. Qalat, Al-Imam Adh-Dhahabi reported from these four persons that Āishah said, radiyallahu anha, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, the messenger of Allah عليه الصلاة والسلام, إذا أراد سفرا أقرأ بين نسائه. If he intends a journey, he makes al-Qur'atu. We had discussed this in the last, so we'll not come back to it. But al-Qur'a means he will cast a lot بين نسائه, amongst his wives. He has 9 wives who died, who were alive when he died. عليه الصلاة. The Prophet had 9 wives. He married 11 in all. If he wanted to make a journey, he took a wife, he will select a wife. How? With the Qur'an. He will toss a coin or, a way of casting lots to determine who amongst the wives will travel. We have discussed this matter in the last class. So Āishah said, radiyallahu anha, فَأَيَّتُهُنَّ خَرَجَ سَهْمُهَا خَرَجَ بِهَا مَعَهُ. So anyone who became victorious, anyone who won the lot casting, she became the one that he would travel with. In the last class, one of the Ummahat asked that question. What if a man has 3 or 4 wives? And each time he made a lot, it was one wife who would be coming. Does it mean that the rest of the wives will not travel with him? Yes, they will not travel with him. That woman was not the one choosing it by herself. And it was not the husband choosing her. It was an equally contested thing that she was the one who became victorious. So there was no injustice there. And like I said in that last class, if it happens like that, the rest of the women should not be jealous of that one who was becoming victorious. Because if they were the ones, they would not like anyone to be jealous of them. So the sunnah of the Messenger, if he wanted to travel, and it's one sunnah many of us have abandoned. When we travel now, we don't travel with our wives again. But as for the Messenger, he's a safara, he's a safara. When he went on a journey, he took a wife. So how will he choose between the wives? Which one he will take on the journey? He will make what al-Qur'an. And anyone, like Āishah said, radiallahu anha, وَمَنْ فَأَيَّتُهُنَّ خَرَجَ سَهْمُهَا خَرَجَ بِهَا مَعْهُ. So anyone who became victorious in that, in the lot casting, that was the one that the Prophet took, alayhi salam. So she said, radiyallahu anha, فَأَقْرَأَ بَيْنَنَا فِي غَزْوَةٍ جَزَاهَا. So on one of the Ghazawats, one of the wars that he went out for, which war was that? Ghazwa to Bani Mustali. Or what? Ghazwa to Al-Muraysiyah. In one of the battles that the Prophet went, alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, Aqra'a baynana fi ghazwatin Ghazaha. So he made Al-Qur'an to play again. He casted a lot amongst the women. فَخَرَجَ سَحْبِهِ. So I became the one who was victorious in that lot casting. فَخَرَجْتُ مَعَهُ بَعْدَمَا نَزَلَ الْحِجَابِ. So I went out with him during that journey. بَعْدَمَا نَزَلَ الْحِجَابِ. She was saying that that incident happened after the verses of hijab had been revealed. There are verses of hijab in the Quran. The first one is that very clear one in Surah Al-Ahzab. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تدخلوا بيوت النبي إلا أن يؤذن لكم إلى طعام غير ناظرين إناه ولكن إذا دخلتم فادخلوا فإذا طعمتم فانتشروا ولا مستأنسين الحديث إن ذلك كان يؤذي النبي فيستحيي منكم والله لا يستحيي من الحق وإذا سألتموهن متاعا فاسألوهن من وراء الحجاب. This is one clear-cut ayah of hijab. The second ayah of hijab is just a few verses away. Allah says, يا أيها النبي كل أزواجك وبناتك ونساء المؤمنين يدنين عليهن من جلابيبهن. These are the two verses of hijab because they completely remove any gumut, any unclarity that the woman should cover everything about herself. These two verses removed it. Any kind of argument, ambiguity about the fact that a woman should cover all herself, they occur in these two verses. I would have gone a bit further, but we have a long story we are talking about. Because I heard someone say recently that there is no verse that a woman should veil her face. But the verses, these two verses are clear-cut verses that a woman should veil everything about her face without an exception. When he said, يُدْنِينَ عَلَيْهِنَّ مِنْ جَلَابِيبِهِنَّ, Abdullah ibn Abbas, radiyallahu anhu, he said, أَمَرَ اللَّهُ النِّسَاءَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah has commanded the Muslim women, إِذَا أَرَدْنَا الْخُرُوجَ لِحَاجَاتِهِنَّ أَنْ يُغَطِّينَ وُجُوهَهُنَّ. That if they want to go out for their needs, they should entirely cover their faces. Ibn Abbas said so. And there is qaida amongst muhaddisun and fuqaha. They said, تَفْسِيرُ الصَّحَابَةِ حُجَّةٌ. تَفْسِيرُ الصَّحَابَةِ حُجَّةٌ. وَهُوَ فِي حُكْمِ الْمَرْفُوعِ. Please take this point. If a Sahabi is explaining a verse, that this is the meaning of this verse, it is hujjah. That is why if you go to Kitab al-Tafsir in Sahih al-Bukhari, you will see tafsir by Ibn Abbas, by others amongst the companions, and he is using it fi hukm al-marfu'at. And Imam al-Bukhari in his Sahih, and the isnad of this athar is Sahih. You find this isnad a lot in Sahih al-Bukhari itself. This isnad of Ali ibn Abi Talha and Ibn Abbas. The isnad is Sahih. And the ulama, the scholars of hadith say between Ali ibn Abi Talha and Abdullah ibn Abbas, there was Mujahid ibn Jabr al-Makki. So to say, oh, there is no evidence that a woman should cover her face, you've not looked at the Quran very well and the books of tafsir. يُدْنِينَ عَلَيْهِنَّ مِنْ جَلَابِيبِهِنَّ. The clear-cut evidence that a woman should veil her face. We will see it in this story too. Āishah will still come back to veiling her face. Radiyallahu anha. She said, فَخَرَجْتُ مَعَهُ بَعْدَمَا نَزَلَ الْحِجَابِ. So I went with the Prophet on that journey, and that one happened after the hijab has been revealed. That is, after we have been commanded to veil all our bodies. Radiyallahu anhu. وَأَنَا أُحْمَلُ فِي هَوْدَجٍ. I used to be carried in a hawdaj. The hawdaj is like a house, small house. They will build it on a wood. They will now carry that small house with the wood. They will place it on top of a horse or a camel. That thing is called what? Hawdaj. She said, radiyallahu anha, وَأَنَا أُحْمَلُ فِي هَوْدَجٍ وَأُنزَلُ فِيهِ. I used to be placed in a hawdaj, and I will be brought down in a hawdaj. So she will climb, enter the hawdaj. They will carry the hawdaj and put it on the animal, And then when she wants to come down, they will carry the hawdaj and bring it on the ground. Then she will come out from the hawdaj. Like a man coming out of his house, or a woman coming out of her house. Radiyallahu anha. She said, وَأَنَا أُحْمَلُ فِي هَوْدَجٍ وَأُنْزَلُ فِيهِ. I used to be placed on the animal when I enter a hawdaj. وَأُنْزَلُ فِيهِ. And I used to be brought down when the hawdaj was brought down. Radiyallahu anha. She said, فَسِرْنَا. So we traveled. We traveled in the night. حَتَّى إِذَا فَرَضَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ مِنْ غَزْوَتِهِ تِلْكَ. When the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was finished with that battle, وَقَفَلَ, and then he turned back, returning to Medina, وَدَنَوْنَا مِنَ الْمَدِينَةِ, and we came very close to Medina. آذَنَ لَيْلَةً بِالرَّحِيلِ. It was announced that, oh, let's take off again. So they were coming, they returned, they stayed in a place, they were close to Medina. Later in the night, آذَنُوا بِالرَّحِيلِ. They announced that, hey, everybody, get ready, let's start going to Medina. Radiyallahu anha. She said, فَقُمْتُ حِينَئِذٍ. When that announcement, يعني حِينَ آذَنُوا بِالرَّحِيلِ, when the announcement was made that everybody get ready, let's start going. فَمَشَيْتُ حَتَّى. You know, sometimes that happens to women a lot. You are traveling on a journey, you stop to buy somewhere, let's quickly buy Coke, let's quickly buy water, let's quickly observe Salah. When you say, let's start going, women will start saying, hey, wait for me, I want to urinate. Wait for me, I want to. It's very common between. We're already there. So when you say, oh, let's start going, then we will say, oh, please, buy me water. Please, buy me biscuits. But we've been there long ago. They will not remember. This is from the nature of women. It is when you say, oh, let's start going. The same thing when a man is in the house. He is with them from morning till the next morning. They will not ask him for something. But when he dresses up, he wears his cap, he wants to go and say, toy, I'm going out. They say, hey, we want to buy okra. We want to buy tomato. They'll start, so as if he should not go again. Sometimes when he gets into his car, he kicks the car. They say, stop me. Don't open gate for him. This is the nature of women. So when they say, hey, everybody, let's go. Radiyallahu anha. She said, فَقُمْتُ حِينَئِذٍ. That was when I stood up. فَمَشَيْتُ حَتَّى جَاوَزْتُ الْجَيْشِ. I walked until I went far away from the army. What was she going to do? She was going to ease herself. Oh, let me quickly ease myself and come back. Then we continue on the journey. She said, فَلَمَّا قَضَيْتُ حَاجَتِي. When I finished easing myself, أَقْبَلْتُ إِلَىٰ رَحْلِي. I returned to the place where I was. I returned to the place where I was. In other reports, like we said, many others also reported this from amongst the Tabi'un, from Āishah. And like we said, many others also reported this narration amongst the companions. Radiyallahu anhu. In other reports, there was a ziyada that falamastu sadri. When I returned, she went and came back. The army was still there, they had not gone. She went, she eased herself, radiyallahu anhu. And then she came back. Everybody was still there. They had not gone. But when she came back, she touched her. She said, lamastu sadri. I touched my chest. Radiyallahu anha. فَإِذًا إِقْدٌ لِي مِنْ جَزْعِ الظَّفَارِ قَدْ انْقَطَعَ. I now found that إِقْدٌ لِي, a necklace of mine, مِنْ جَزْعِ الظَّفَارِ, from the beads of Zafar. Al-Zafar is a place in Yemen. So it's like saying these days French gold or Saudi gold. So that necklace, that iqt, is from what? Jaz'i Zafar, from the beads. Those beads, where were they made from? Zafar. Touch my neck, found out that my necklace min jaz'i zafarin qad inqata'a. It had gotten caught and missing. Radiyallahu anhu. She said, فَالْتَمَسْتُهُ. So I began to search for it. Radiyallahu anha. وَحَبَسَنِي إِلْتِمَاسُهُ. And that search for that necklace kept me behind. وَأَقْبَلَ الرَّهَةُ رضي الله عنه. She said, أَقْبَلَ الرَّهَةُ الَّذِينَ كَانُوا يَرْحَلُونَ بِهِ. So those الَّذِينَ, the group الرَّهَةُ, the group الَّذِينَ كَانُوا يَرْحَلُونَ لِي, or يَرْحَلُونَ بِي, any of them. The group that I was in, who would carry my howdaj on top of the animal and bring down the howdaj down, this group that I was in, Akbalu, they advanced, they had gone. Fahtamalu hawdaji. They placed the hawdaj on top of the animal. Farahalu ala ba'iri. So they placed it on the hawdaj, the camel, and then they left. وَهُمْ يَحْسَبُونَ أَنِّي. And they were thinking that I was inside. Let me mention this. This is part of Husnul Adabi Ma'azawjati Rasul. If it were today, the students will go and open the door to see whether she's there. But haiba, respect and awe for the Prophet alayhi salatu salam, cannot make them go and start. Āishah, are you inside? Today, brothers will do it. Umu, are you inside? You go and knock the door by Prophet's wife. Are you inside? Radiyallahu anhu. وَهُمْ يَحْسَبُونَ أَنِّي. So they took the hawdaj and placed it on the ba'ir. وَهُمْ يَحْسَبُونَ أَنِّي فِيهِ, while thinking that I was already inside it. How about her weight? Should they not have known because of her weight and the weight difference they would observe? Shouldn't they have then known that she was not inside it? She explained, radiyallahu anha. She said, وَكَانَ النِّسَاءُ إِذَّاكَ خِفَافًا. كَانَ النِّسَاءُ إِذَّاكَ خِفَافًا. She said, women at those times, خِفَافًا, they were light, their weight were light. لَمْ يُسْكِلْهُنَّ اللَّحْمُ. They've not started eating meat so much that they became fat and wavy. So at that time, they are just managing food. This means that sometimes a woman will be light, sometimes a woman will be fat, depending on how much Allah provides for her husband. That's why Allah said, لِيُنْفِقْهُ سَاعَةٍ مِنْ سَاعَةٍ وَمَنْ قُدِرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقُهُ فَلْيُنْفِقْ مِمَّا آتَاهُ اللَّهُ. And then it means also that the women that time, they did not rebel against their husbands. They only ate whatever the husbands brought. So if the husband was able to bring much, yes, they ate. As it happened later, she said, لَمْ يُسْكِلْهُنَّ اللَّحْمُ. Meat, flesh, had not made them to become heavy. So kanu khifafa. At that time, women were light. So women suffice with whatever your husband brings. So you will be light when he is bringing little. And when he brings a lot, okay, bismillah. That is the meaning of لِيُنْفِقْهُ سَاعَةٍ مِنْ سَاعَةٍ وَمَنْ قُدِرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقُهُ فَلْيُنْفِقْ مِمَّا آتَاهُ اللَّهُ. She said, رضي الله عنها, وَكَانَ النِّسَاءُ إِذْ ذَاكَ خِفَافًا لَمْ يُسْكِلْهُنَّ اللَّحْمُ. The women at that time were light. Flesh had not made them to become heavy. إِنَّمَا يَأْكُلْنَ الْعُلْقَةَ مِنَ الطَّعَامِ. إِنَّمَا يَأْكُلْنَ الْعُلْقَةَ مِنَ الطَّعَامِ. We only used to suffice with al-ulqa, small meals, small food. Maybe one dabinu, two dabinu. The Kosei, we take kunu, we just eat anything we can find, at least to just live. Innama ya'kulna al-ulqata min at-ta'am. At that time, they would only eat something that was small. Why? That was what was available at that time. Don't forget, what is the guiding verse? لِيُنْفِقْ ذُو سَعَةٍ مِنْ سَعَتِهِ وَمَنْ قُدِرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقُهُ فَلْيُنْفِقْ مِمَّا آتَاهُ اللَّهُ. So at that time, they sufficed with the little. And I always say this about women. This one did not push them to say, okay, let's go and start becoming business women. Why? Our husband is bringing little. My husband can bring everything that I want. Your husband can never bring everything that you want. And I say this, even the wives of millionaires, they have not been able to get everything from their husband. No man is able to bring everything that a woman wants. Because if you're a millionaire, her taste will rise to the taste of millions. If you're a billionaire, her taste will rise to the taste of billions. That is the nature of women. So if your husband is 100 near, manage the 100. If it is 10 near, manage the 10. وَمَنْ قُدِرَ عَلَيْهِ رِزْقُهُ فَلْيُنْفِقْ مِمَّا آتَاهُ اللَّهُ لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا مَا آتَاهَا سَيَجْعَلُ اللَّهُ Allah even did a wa'az to us. In the sermon, سَيَجْعَلُ اللَّهُ كَأَنَّهُ يُصَبِّرُنَا عَلَيْهِ سبحانه wa ta'ala. سَيَجْعَلُ اللَّهُ بَعْدَ عُسْرٍ يُسْرًا. And that's why the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam كَانَ يَتَعَوَّزُ مِنْ زَوْجٍ تُشَيِّبُهُ قَبْلَ الْمَشِيبِ. The Prophet used to ask for Allah's protection from a wife تُشَيِّبُهُ قَبْلَ الْمَشِيبِ, who will make him to grow gray hairs before he grew old to have gray hairs. How? She will be asking him what he can't have. When women ask men for what they can't have, they make their husbands to suffer. Don't ask the man for what he can't provide. Your own fathers too were not able to provide everything your mothers wanted. It's the nature of life. So why do you want to kill the man with demands? Please bring this, bring this, bring this. No day he's resting. When he goes out of work, he's thinking about your needs. When he's coming back, he's thinking about your needs. You want to kill him to shayibuhu qabla al-mashib. You want him to grow gray hairs before he became old. May Allah protect us. But as for them, they were not like that. She said, radiyallahu anha, وَكَانَ النِّسَاءُ إِذْ ذَاكَ خِفَافًا لَمْ يُسْكِلْهُنَّ اللَّحْمُ. The women at that time were light. They had not become heavy from flesh. إِنَّمَا يَأْكُلْنَ الْعُلْقَةَ مِنَ الطَّعَامِ. Because at that time, they would only eat food that is what? That is small. They will suffice with little. فَلَمْ يَسْتَنْكِرُوا خِفَّةَ الْمَحْمِلِ حِينَ رَفَعُوهُ لَمْ يَسْتَنْكِرُوا خِفَّةَ الْمَحْمِلِ. So they did not consider it abnormal. That, oh, this Hawdaj is light. Oh, I don't think she is inside. Why? Because she was light. There is practically no difference between when she was inside and when she was not inside. Look at her, radiyallahu anha. This is the brain of a 13-year-old girl. Radiyallahu. At that time, she was 13. Radiyallahu anha. She knew the reason why they would have made that mistake. Our mother Āishah. Radiyallahu. Don't compare her to a 13-year-old girl now. She's more than them. Radiyallahu anha. Her brain was fully developed. She said, فَلَمْ يَسْتَنْكِرُوا خِفَّةَ الْمَحْمِلِ حَتَّى رَفَعُوا حِينَ رَفَعُوا. So they did not consider it abnormal. That maybe she's not inside when they carried the Hawdaj and placed it on the Ba'ir. وَكُنْتُ. The second reason is that I was jariyatan hadithat as-sinni. I was a little young girl. Radiyallahu. I was young and we did not used to eat much. وَكُنْتُ jariyatan hadithat as-sinni. So I was a little young girl. Jariya. I was a young girl. Hadithat as-sinni. My age was what? Little. I was, by calculations, she was 13. Radiyallahu anha. فَبَعْثُوا الْجَمَلِ. So they raised and moved the camel. وَاسْتَارُوا. And then they continued the journey. They advanced. فَوَجَدْتُ عِقْدِي بَعْدَ مَا اسْتَمَرَّ الْجَيْشِ. But I found my necklace بَعْدَ مَا اسْتَمَرَّ الْجَيْشُ. After the army had left. فَجِئْتُ مَنَازِلَهُمْ. So I returned to the place where they had rested over the night. فَلَيْسَ بِهَا دَاعٍ وَلَا مُجِيبٍ. رضي الله عنه. He said, لَيْسَ بِهَا دَاعٍ وَلَا مُجِيبٍ. Ulama say, لَيْسَ هُنَاكَ طَالِبٌ وَلَا مَطْلُوبٌ. No any person like that. لَيْسَ هُنَاكَ دَاعٍ. Nobody will call, hey, you. Nobody will say, hey, me, I am answering. Nobody was there. No human being. Everybody had gone. She said, radiyallahu anhu. She said, فَأَمَمْتُ مَنْزِلِي الَّذِي كُنْتُ فِيهِ. أَمَمْتُ. So I stayed in Manzili, the place where I was staying. الَّذِي كُنْتُ فِيهِ. The place where I was before I went to search for my necklace. I remained there. وَظَنَنْتُ أَنَّهُمْ سَيَفْقِدُونِ. And I was thinking that they will miss me. They will realize that they had missed me. يعني أَنَّهُمْ يَفْقِدُونَنِي. So they will realize that they had left me behind. فَيَرْجِعُونَ إِلَيَّ. That will make them come back to me. فَبَيْنَ أَنَا جَالِسَةٌ. As I was sitting where I was, غَلَبَتْنِي عَيْنِي فَنِمْتُ. It was early in the morning. He said, as I was sitting where I was sitting, I hope that يَفْتَقِدُونَنِي or يَفْقِدُونَنِي. They will realize that they had missed me. فَيَرْجِعُونَ إِلَيَّ. When they realize that they have missed me, of course, they will come back to look for me. So I was waiting there. فَبَيْنَ أَنَا جَالِسَةٌ. As I was sitting there waiting, غَلَبَتْنِي عَيْنِي. My eyes overpowered me. فَنِمْتُ. So I slept there. رضي الله عنه. وكان صفوان بن المعطل السلمي ثم الذكواني. As for Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal as-Sulami ثم الذكواني. Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal Abu Amr. Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal. What was his kunya? Abu Amr. Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal. He had a job. She said, min wara il-jaysh. He was behind the army. He had a job. And that job was mentioned in the report of Abdullah ibn Umar. Abdullah ibn Umar said, رضي الله عنهما, إذا رحل الناس, when the people move away, when they go on a journey, قام يصلي. He would be making قيام الليل. رضي الله عنه. Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal, Abu Amr. In the middle of the night, when the army moves, he will remain. He will be making what? قيام الليل. رضي الله عنه. ثم اتبعه. Then he will follow them behind. فَمَنْ سَقَطَ لَهُ شَيْءٌ أَتَاهُ بِهِ. So that if anybody had anything that fell from him, he will bring that in. When the rest of everybody is preparing to go, when they go, he will wait. What will he be doing? Yusalli. Who reported this? Ibn Umar. In this case, as for Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal Abu Amr as-Sulami al-Dhakwani, يقوم يصلي حين ارتحل الناس. They will be praying, making qiyamul. When they have gone, they will start looking. Maybe someone forgot something. Maybe someone left something. Maybe someone. He will pack all of these. Do we know this first point of benefit? If he was not a person of amana, they will not give him that job. Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal, if he was not a person of amana, he will not be the one to say, you wait. If anybody missed his bag or sack of coins, if he was not a person of Aman, don't forget, the Prophet was there, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They agreed that Safwan, you will be remaining. If any of us misses something, you pick it, you bring it to us in Medina. He was always like that. He comes behind the army. And the Prophet himself, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said something about Safwan ibn Mu'attal. He says, Ma alimtu alayhi illa khayra. The Prophet said, I don't know anything about Safwan ibn Mu'attal except what? Khayra. Is there any other expression of praise better than this? The Prophet said about Safwan alayhi salatu wasalam, Ma alimtu alayhi illa khayra. This Safwan, I don't know anything about him except what? Khayra. Don't forget, he was also in the position of amana for the rest of them. Not just that. Yaqumu fil layli yusalli. He will pray in the night making qiyamul layl. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Safwan ibn Mu'attal. Radiyallahu anhu. So Safwan ibn Mu'attal, our mother Āishah said, Radiyallahu anha, وكان صفوان ibn المعطل السلمي ثم الذكواني من وراء الجيش. He will come behind the army for adlaja. He will now move in the night. Meaning, we had explained what he used to do from the report of Abdullah ibn Radiyallahu anhu. So she said, Radiyallahu anha, فَأَدْلَجَ. He will travel in the night. يعني يَصِيرُ آخِرَ اللَّيْلِ. He will travel at the late part of the night, before Fajr. That is the time he will move. فَأَصْبَحَ عِنْدَ مَنْزِلِ. So by the time he got to where I was, the day was already breaking. رضي الله عنه. فَرَأَى سَوَادَ إِنسَانٍ نَائِمٍ. Safwan ibn Mu'attal was seeing a black person sleeping. That's evidence she was wearing black hijab. رَأَى سَوَادَ إِنسَانٍ نَائِمٍ. Safwan ibn Mu'attal was seeing one black person sleeping on the ground. فَأَتَانِي. So he was walking towards that person. فَعَرَفَنِي حِينَ رَآنِي. When he saw me, he recognized me. وَكَانَ يَرَانِي قَبْلَ الْحِجَابِ. And he knew me very well. He knew me even before I started to veil my face. Before hijab, before Ayatul Hijab came down. Safwan ibn Mu'attal had known our mother Āishah. Radiyallahu anha. فَاسْتَرْجَعَ. When he saw that I was the one, he said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi. Safwan ibn Mu'attal, when he came, he saw that I was the one. He shouted, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji. That is the meaning of what? Al-istirja'. Making quick return to Allah. Mentioning the expression that shows that we all shall return to Allah subhanahu. Inna lillahi. That was what he said. Radiyallahu anhu. He said, Fastaiqastu. That was what made me to wake up. Bistirja'ihi. When he said, Inna lillahi, I heard and I woke up. Radiyallahu anhu. Hina araft. When I heard this istirja', I woke up. Radiyallahu anhu. He said, Fakhammartu wajhi bijilbad. The first thing I did was what? I covered my face with my jilbab. Radiyallahu anhu. If the jilbab does not include what tells her to cover her face, who told her to cover the face? Well, you know, when she slept, her jilbab would become, her face became exposed. So one shouted, Inna lillahi, the wife of the Prophet. Alayhi salatu radiyallahu anhu. So when he shouted, she heard, she woke up. The first thing she did. Even the women today, we do that one. That is what the women will do. If they find themselves in that, the first thing they will do, oh, my face is exposed, they'll quickly cover it. May Allah be pleased with our women. She said, فَخَمَّرْتُ وَجْهِي بِجِلْبَابٍ. So I quickly covered my face with my jilbab. Our mother said, radiyallahu anha, Wallahi, Allahu Akbar. She started this statement by swearing with Allah. She said, Wallahi, ma kallamani kalimatan. I swear by Allah, Safwan did not say a single word to me. Wala sami'tu minhu kalimatan ghayra istirja'ihi. And I did not hear any word from him, except what? Inna lillahi, that he had shouted. Radiyallahu anhu. Āishah, wallahi, I did not hear one word. He didn't say one word to me. And I didn't hear anything from him apart from what? Inna lillahi. That I heard. Radiyallahu anhu. فَأَنَاخَ رَائِلَتَهُ. أَنَاخَ رَاحِلَتَهُ. So he made his camel to come down. فَوَطِئَ عَلَى يَدَيْهَا فَرَكِبْتُهَا. You know it to be clear. What she needs to do will be clear. So when he made the camel to go down, she understood that he wanted her to climb the camel. So she said, radiyallahu anha, أَنَاخَ رَحِلَتَهُ فَوَطِئَ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ. He placed his leg on the hand of the camel so that it will go down properly. فَرَكِبْتُهَا. Then I climbed the camel. Radiyallahu anhu. فَانْطَلَقَ. And then he proceeded. يَقُودُ بِي, leading me الرَّاحِلَةَ. Leading the camel. Safwan was in front. The camel was at the back. And our mother was in front of it. حَتَّى أَتَيْنَا الْجَيْشِ. So he was like that with the camel. Until we came to meet the army. بَعْدَمَا nazalu mugirin. After they had arrived in Medina, mugirin, at the time when the weather was hot. Al-Wagratu is what? When afternoon was hot. Everywhere was hot. That was when they arrived. So we arrived. She said, radiallahu anha, fi nahrin wahira, at the middle of the heat of the day. If you have gone to Medina before, how does it become shortly before Zuhur? Hot. That was when they arrived. So Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal was holding the camel, yaquduha. He was leading the camel, and our mother was what? On top of the camel, coming on that journey until they got into Medina. فَهَلَكَ مَنْ هَلَكَ فِيهَا. فَهَلَكَ مَنْ هَلَكَ. Some people who became destroyed. Those who were destroyed became destroyed regarding me. Radiallahu. وَكَانَ الَّذِي تَوَلَّى كِبْرَ الْإِفْكِ. The one who tawalla kibra al-ifki, who came in front, tawalla kibrahu, who arrogantly came in front of that lie against me, was who? Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, Ra'asul Munafiqi. Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul was the one who came ahead of the lie. What was the lie? Āishah and Safwan ibn Mu'attal had something. That was why they stayed behind. You see the lie? Radiallahu anha. You see the lie they lied against Āishah. Allazi wallazi tawalla kibrahu. What did Allah say about him in the Quran? Allah understand. May Allah protect all of us. فَالَّذِي تَوَلَّى كِبْرَ الْإِفْكِ Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul. The one who came in front of that lie, who arrogantly came to start to spread that lie, was who? Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul. You know Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul was always jealous of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi. He was the one who was saying that لَإِن رَجَعْنَا إِلَى الْمَدِينَةِ لَا يُخْرِجَنَّ الْعَزُّ مِنْ. It was Ibn Ubay ibn Salul. Because he was hoping to be the head of Medina before the Prophet came. So when the Prophet came, and the Prophet ﷺ was made the head of Medina, he started to become jealous. And he was full of nifaq. But you know how the Prophet still handled Ibn Ubay ibn Salul? When he died, his son Abdullah, he had a son called who? Abdullah. Shaykh Abdulaziz ibn Abdullah ibn Baz. When he explained this hadith, he said that is evidence that a man can have a name and name his child by that name. Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, he had a son. What is his name? Abdullah. He was a muttaqi, he was a pious servant of Allah. He wasn't a munafiq. But the father was what? Munafiq. Allahu Akbar. Baba, munafiqi. The son was not munafiq. So when Ibn Ubay, Abdullah died, his son Abdullah came to the Prophet alayhi salatu. Say, Ya Rasulallah, messenger of Allah, give me your cloth so that I can use it to wrap my father. The Prophet gave him his cloth, alayhi salam. Take, go and wrap your father with it. He said, okay, come and pray over the dead body of my father. The Prophet stood up to go and pray over the dead body. Umar said, Prophet, don't go. Ya Rasulallah, kana munafiqan. He was a munafiq. Don't go. Has Allah not prohibited you from going? The Prophet said, alayhi salatu salam, Innama khayyarani Allahu. Allah only gave me a choice. He said, Istaghfir lahum, aw la tastaghfir lahum. In tastaghfir lahum 70 marratan. He said, La azidu ala 70. The Prophet said, I will ask for forgiveness for him more than 70. Because Allah said, even if you pray for forgiveness 70 times, say, okay, I will do more. The Prophet said, I will do more than 70. Umar was saying, don't go. So as the Prophet said that, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, another verse came down, فَأَنزَلَ اللَّهُ وَلَا تُصَلِّ عَلَىٰ أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ أَبَدًا. Okay, you didn't get it from that verse. Take it from this one. لَا تُصَلِّ عَلَىٰ أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ أَبَدًا مَاتَ أَبَدًا. Any one of them who dies, don't pray upon him again. So the verse came twice. From the first one, Istaghfir lahum. أو لا تستغفر لهم. Umar understood from it that what it means is that don't pray for them, because part of istighfaru lahum, asking Allah to forgive them, is that Salatul Janazah. In Salatul Janazah you say it, Allahumma gfir lahu warhamhu. So don't do it. Umar understood, but the Prophet was giving him moral. The ulama say, this is how learned people should behave. If you see munafiqun, give them moral. When you give them moral, you call them liars. Because they would have told their people that if I do like this, he will do like this. If I do like this, he will do like this. So disappoint them. They will say, if I do like this, he can slap me. So when you do all that thing, don't slap him, leave him. Do you understand? Say, okay, if I do like it, he will call me a liar. Don't call him a liar. Give him more rope to become a liar in front of his people. They say this was how the Prophet was dealing with Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul and his ilks. He used to give them ropes. He was patient with them, so that it would be disappointment for those who follow them, and it would be a lesson of goodness for those who are not following them, that be easy with the people. So the Prophet was easy with them. And then he wanted to make his son Abdullah to feel ease. This is his father. And he was the one who came to make the request. The one who came to make the request was a righteous person. Abdullah, the son of Abdullah. Abdullah ibn Abdullah. Ibn Ubay ibn Salul. He also did not want to disappoint that one. And this one is his father. After all, we are praying together. May Allah forgive all of us. So the Prophet ﷺ was easy with Ibn Ubay ibn Salul. وَهُوَ الَّذِي تَوَلَّى كِبْرَ الْإِفْكِ. He was the one who came in front arrogantly to spread evil about Āishah. رضي الله عنها. She continued, she said, رضي الله عنها. فَقَدِمْنَا الْمَدِينَةِ. So we entered and arrived in Medina. فَاشْتَكَيْتُ شَهْرًا. I was sick for 1 month, رضي الله. After that, when we came, I was sick for 1 month. رضي الله عنها. وَالنَّاسُ يفيدون في قول أهل الإفك ولا أشعر بشيء من ذلك. While I was sick, she said, رضي الله عنها, اشتكيت شهرا. I was sick for 1 month. That 1 month, والناس. That within that period, the people, يفيدون في قول أهل الإفك. Everybody was saying what the people had said. They were carrying the news. You know Āishah, the wife of the Prophet, we saw him and Safwan coming in. And when everybody has arrived, they wait behind. For 1 month, people were saying it. Radiallahu anha. She said, "Wala ash'uru bi shay'in min dhalik." Me myself, I never heard anything. Not just I never had any impression that something was going on. You know, it happens. You'll be the one. People are talking about you and you didn't know what they are saying. If you walk on the street, they use their nose and their mouth to say, Gashina, Gashi, look at him. But you don't know what they are talking about. It is tough, ikhwa. She said, radiyallahu anha, فَقَدِمْنَا الْمَدِينَةَ فَاشْتَكَيْتُ شَهْرًا. When we arrived Medina, I was sick for 1 month. Within that 1 month, وَالنَّاسُ يُفِيدُونَ فِي قَوْلِ أَهْلِ الْإِفْكِ. The people were all talking about what these liars have said about me. وَلَا أَشْعُرُ بِشَيْءٍ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. And I did not know anything about that. وَيُرِيبُنِي فِي وَجْهِي. Yuribuni. You can say yuribuni or yaribuni. Because if you say yuribuni, that is araba. It brings me worry. If you say yaribuni, it is what? Raba. So any of them. You either say yuribuni or what? Yaribuni. On any of the readings you are correct. What brings me sadness and worry? Fi waj'i. At the time that I was sick, I didn't hear that anything was happening, but I was sick for 1 month. Within that period, what was disturbing me was أني لا أعرف من الرسول عليه الصلاة والسلام اللطف الذي كنت أرى منه حين أشتكي. The kind of care, the kind of attention I used to see from the Prophet if I am sick. Radiallahu anha. La a'rifuhu minhu. If I was sick, the Prophet will come. Hello, how are you? How is your body? How is the headache? How is this? How is that? But this time, he did not say that. Alayhi salam. And it was worrying me. This man didn't even pay attention to me. This is lesson for all of us, men. Please, from the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. It's not just his biadu. It's not just his kafu. It's not just the lawanio. It's not just the nisfu sako. It's not just tabdi'u. It's not just takfiru. It's not just tafsiku. It's not just all about these. Kana yu'amilu ahalahu bil lutf. He was relating with his wife with what? With ease. Especially more so when she falls ill. When she falls ill. So it means that the normal thing was that whenever she was ill, you'll be taking care of her. Cave. But she said, I didn't hear anything. But apart from that, what was paining me was that she said, Radiyallahu anha, yuribuni fi waj'i. The time that I was sick, what was bringing me worry in my mind, and me, was that I was La a'rifu min Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I would not notice with the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam al-lutfa alladhi kuntu ara minhu hina ashtaki. The kind of kind treatment, the kind of honorable treatment I would receive whenever I fell ill. I never saw it. Innama yadkhulu alayya. The only thing he will do, alayhi salatu wasalam, he will come to my room. فَيُسَلِّمُ. He will say, Assalamu alaikum. Summa yaqulu. After Assalamu alaikum, I say alaikum assalam. The next thing he will say was what? Kayfatikum. What does kayfatikum? How is your sight? Yeah. How is your sight? That's all. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum salam. Ya cool. How are you? We are fine. That's all. He goes out. Alayhi salatu. That was paining her. On her own side too, that means she was a wife that's observing her husband. Some women don't care. If you like, greet me well. If you like, don't greet me well. She doesn't care. That's not the way a good wife should be. It means a good wife should be watching your husband. If he's not doing as he used to do before, he should quickly say, Mara, yeah. And Madam too, please do well, so that if there's a difference, she can know. Of your Lord. Innama yashkulu alayya. Instead of telling me how are you, how is this, I will just innama. The only thing he will do is yashkulu alayya. He will enter my room. For yusallimu. He will say salam. Summa yakulu kayfatikum. The next thing he will say after, how are you? Of your Lord. Summa yansarif. After that, he will turn back and go. She said, Radiyallahu. فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يُرِيدُ. For me, that was what was disturbing me. وَلَا أَشْعُرُ بِالشَّرِّ. I did not know that there was an evil going on. Okay. What was the evil? They were connecting her with what? Safwan again. Radiyallahu. I think we can stop here because of time. Already we are 4 minutes away from it. I think we can start and continue the narration, inshallah, from there. From how she was worried about the Prophet not paying good attention to her, as he used to do. Sorry, he only come in, enter my room, Assalamu alaikum. Yes, he will ask me how are you, what's happening here. Very particular. How is your side? Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum salam. Very particular. What is very particular? That's why I told us from the beginning of this class. It was a trial for her in her marriage. She used to think, this is not the way my husband used to behave now. Yeah. That means it has started becoming a child. The day a wife is asking his wife, her husband,
What happened? Or the mala is asking the wife, Mala Mayaya, may one, then there's a trial. May Allah protect all of us. So how did she handle this fitna? We are coming back to it. Kalima bi kalima, inshallah. So we are reading this Bismillah from Siyar A'alām An-Nubala. Bismillah will go on one by one till we finish about our mother Āishah. May Allah make it easy for us and make it beneficial for us. The lessons in it, may Allah make it useful to us. May Allah make it useful to us. Abu Abdur-Raūf.
جزاكم الله خيرا يا شيخنا.
آمين وأنتم فجزاكم الله.
بارك الله فيكم.
آمين وفيكم بارك الله. Do you have a question how we should?
The first question is, we have نعم يا شيخنا.
Now, do we have questions connected to this matter, to this qissa, to this story?
No, most questions are not connected.
Well, I'm here with some ummahats. Let me see if they have a few questions. There are about 20 here.
Okay.
Let's see if they have a few questions. Do you have anyone here who has a question? No one? Fine. The story of Qissatul Ifk is usually a story we want to hear to the end. I have never given this talk, and I have explained this hadith up to 5 times in my life. People don't ask questions at the middle. Until the end, in fact, they'll be telling us that this one you are asking us whether we should have proceeded with the story. So what now happens? Assalamu alaikum. Innama kana yadkhulu alayya. He will only enter my room. فَيُسَلِّمُ. He will say, Assalamu alaikum. Suma yas'al kayfati. Suma yaqulu kayfati. He will ask me what's happened. So what happened? Women, people, everybody wants to know. So what's happened? Inshallah, when we come to class in the next week, we'll continue from here about the Rahman. Can we stop here and meet in class tomorrow morning? About the Rahman.
نعم يا شيخنا.
Can we meet in class tomorrow morning because the time is already fast spent?
نعم يا شيخنا.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.